Good morning, YouTube. Happy St. Patrick's Day. It is Tuesday morning. I'm very excited to come to you with our episode 4 of our Natural Health News Live, where I'm giving you pandemic updates for all of our viewers around the world. And I'm going to grab our LinkedIn community or our Instagram community. I'm going to give you some stats. We're going to talk about homeopathy and Ayurveda. So let me grab LinkedIn or Instagram. Hi, Instagram. Good morning. It's Dr. Melissa here. I have my YouTube community on live, and today we're going through our Natural Health News Live show at 9 a.m. every morning. So welcome to all of you tuning in. Comment down below and let me know where you are watching this show from, what city, what state, what country. We have a very large international community of about 350,000, and I'm very excited to detail to you some updates. So we're going to dig into the current live statistics around the world, news regarding coronavirus, and I'm going to give you some details, latest news internationally as well, a new study that is out that is quite alarming for all of us in the healthcare system. And then we're going to go into Ayurveda, homeopathy, as ways to help boost, bolster, and support and enhance your immune system, as well as manage any symptoms in the event that you do come down with any of the coronavirus symptoms, because right now there's no treatment plan, there's no protocol, there are no drugs, there's no vaccine. So we need to use some alternative resources, and natural health is my specialty, and that's what I'm going to offer to help you. So for all of you joining, welcome. Hi, Taryn. Hi, Ken B. Lorraine from Miami. Hi, Laydim from the Philippines. All right, welcome everybody. So first of all, I want to wish everybody a happy St. Patrick's Day. Let's bring on the St. Patrick's luck today, that we have some good progress with the virus across the world. The second message I have, I actually want to send a big thanks and lots of energy. Let's all send lots of love and energy to our frontline responders, our nurses, our doctors, our grocery workers, our pharmacists, and our delivery teams, as well as our gas station professionals. Those are folks that are working and providing us with service, and much to the risk of their own health. And so if you are in that category, comment down below, let us know what you do. We're sending you lots of love, and thank you for all of your support for our health, because we're in this together, friends. Every action, every activity that we each conduct affects each other. This is the ripple effect of being a symbiotic world, and together we will get through this. So definitely very excited to communicate with you guys. Just the love. We saw a lot of love for nurses who are asking about protection and protective protocols. And Vicki, we have a registered nurse. Vicki, we love you. Thank you for everything that you're doing. So for all of those who are frontline and in a public setting where you're working with customers, my message is please protect yourself. If you can, masks, even eyewear. I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but even glasses, sunglasses, any way to protect yourself from the respiratory droplets. The first thing I want to mention today, before we dig into some statistics, there's a new study, and I didn't get a chance to grab the link, but I will include it later on, at least on the YouTube video. There's lots of links. There's lots of details in the description box for all of you. The latest research, a new study came out. There's actually two things that came out that were big yesterday. So the new study came out and said for every one confirmed case, we are looking at 5 to 10 undetected cases. Oh my gosh, this is really big news, because yesterday, I don't know if you guys remember, this is the transmission rate, or what they kind of project as the growth factor. And yes, Lorraine, garbage man too, absolutely. So this is the factor of 3. Now the study is saying it's a factor of 5 to 10. That's substantial. So it would be 1 to 5 or 1 to 10, 10 to 100, 5 to 25, and then it would just grow in that exponential growth. So this is why hunkering down, laying low, hanging out in your house, limiting exposure is key. And I want to take this even further. Yesterday, I had mentioned that there was a study in February that as I was looking at gathering the details and the data, because this is all factually, clinically based information that I'm going to provide for you. The study in February had identified the surface life of the coronavirus and this existing coronavirus, the novel coronavirus. And what I had mentioned yesterday is they had identified that it had a lifespan in air of 3 hours. Okay, so fast forward to a few hours, 5, 6 hours after my live with all of you, and the World Health Organization, the director came out and said that they are considering having people take airborne precautions, meaning he's referencing that data and referencing the fact that the transmission experience is not just contact from your fingers, that it could very well be through the air. And that might be why we're seeing such explosive growth in these rates. So what does that mean for you? So I know this is so abrupt and it's so life-changing and it's so alarming in terms of just the changes. Like today, Gabriel's starting school online. Brian's working from home. Our world, all of our worlds, I'm not talking about myself. Our world is upside down right now. And we first have to take a deep breath. We will get through this. We have to be fluid and we have to be mobile and we have to be capable of adjusting. So we're going with the flow. Everybody's working with it. I'm working from home in my home shooting studio. There's a yard guy outside. Brian set Gabriel up 9 a.m. until like 10:30 or 11:30. He's going to be on doing work with the school. And we are all in that change and adjustment. For all of you working from home, comment down below. Let me know if you guys are working from home. And this just impacts everybody. And because of that, everything is turned upside down. We have to take precautions that are equally turned upside down. And so one of the things that I think the World Health Organization is signaling is that communities, countries, governments should be taking drastic measures to cut this transmission rate or to limit the explosiveness. So that means being minimum 6 feet away from any person. Now, if you're a frontliner, as we've got Vicki and other individuals that are going to be engaging with people, that's why I'm recommending if you can get your mask. Now, healthcare providers, we had a few nurses on yesterday that had asked about protective gear, and the N95 mask will limit up to 95, or it'll filter 95% of the droplet, the respiratory droplets. Now, it's not 100%. Honestly, I don't know if there's ever anything that's 100%, but 95% is better than zero. And even minimizing just with a regular mask. And even, these are things that we have to think about. Even going out, like masks are hard to find. You can take a, this is my St. Patty's Day scarf. Even kind of having this over your face. I'd rather have a droplet. Now, this is very thin, so obviously there still be transmission, but I'd rather have a droplet be on something you can wash and heat up and kill the virus than just completely inhaling that through your nose and your mouth. I hope that makes sense. Love Leah, me, radiology technologist here, and this frightens me. Yes, I totally understand wearing masks, being protective, love Leah, me, is going to be huge. Wood Jen, my college daughter, is participating in video class right now. Yeah, so we are all in this change. And the amazing part, the thing that we have that they didn't have in the last pandemic of a century ago, we have technology. And so technology can keep us together. It can keep us informed. It can keep us socialized. Gabriel has a Google Hangout with his preschool teacher at 12:20 or 12:30. And they'll be on video chatting and he will have that engagement. I don't know if any of you have kids at home, but this is a really hard adjustment for kids. Gabriel had a complete meltdown yesterday. He's missing his teacher. He's missing his friends, and it's heartbreaking. And so, we also have to be cognizant of our kids' routine, keeping us in routine, keeping our regular activities, like still getting up, showering, getting dressed. The activities, we've got to keep as much of a normal schedule as we can, because that helps us minimize that stress impact. Okay. So let's all take a big deep breath because we've got kids, we've got husbands at home, we've got family at home. We're all in this together. Okay. So big deep breath. In through your nose, accessing this gas here that'll relax your body, and out through the mouth. This is very, very helpful. Anytime you start to feel that anxiety, I want you to take a big deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. You're welcome, Holistic Life by Kate. All right, I have to give myself a little lip balm. I forgot to put my lip balm on. Okay, so let's get going with the statistics where we're at. As of last night, New York City, so I'm going to focus on the US first and then go national. As of right now, we have a total of 4,661 cases. And this is my notebook. This is kind of like my war notebook, if you will. Yesterday, that jumped up by, let's see, New York. Oh, so the US jumped up. It was 3,774. It's 4,661. So it's jumped up by 800 cases. Now we are going to see an increase in the US cases because supposedly we're supposed to be getting 3,000 test kits out to people. The testing takes a while to turn around. It is not a super efficient process. The process here is broken down in testing. So do be aware of that. Hi from Boston, Vanessa, Shelma, Puerto Rico. We've got everybody. First of all, before I dig even further in, give me a like, thumbs up, share on YouTube. Please share this with Facebook, with Twitter. It's helpful for the algorithm. YouTube is censoring all COVID-19 coronavirus content. They've demonetized it and they're not pushing it out. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people that are putting out misinformation, and they are also running on a skeleton crew. They don't have people in their offices. They did have some folks test positive in Seattle or wherever they're at. So even the reviews are going to be slow. So it does help if you like and push this out, email friends to get the word out, because YouTube's also feeling the brunt of this. Okay, so New York has increased. Washington is still number 2 at 904 cases, 48 deaths. So we've had 6 additional deaths there in Washington. California has bumped up to 557. And as of yesterday, that was 431. So they've had a big increase. The death toll has only increased by 1. More have actually recovered in California than any other state. So 6 people, actually, no, New York. New York has 10 people who've recovered. Or no, sorry, my bad. California has more recovered cases, so that's good. New Jersey's bunch is going up there. It's 178. Massachusetts, 179. Connecticut, we had somebody from Connecticut, 41. Maryland is at 42. Georgia, we're at 121. We increased by 10 here in the Georgia area. Florida is on the increase, and I'm going to project Florida is going to be even higher. They are not getting the degree of test kits that other states are, because they're not in that critical state right now. But there are pictures of these people on beaches. They're in bars. I talked to one of my friends. I've talked to some patients back in Florida. And Floridians, if you're on here from Florida, comment down below. Floridians are now taking this seriously, all these spring breakers. And I think businesses are kind of in a little bit of a denial. But it is definitely we're negligent if we are not taking actions to protect our global community. And I'm speaking to business owners that aren't closing. And I know that it's a situation where financially it's going to we're going to have big hits, but definitely the liability of having people's, transmission and potentially ventilation deaths on your hands is just that's not a good thing. Okay, so Yanni, New York numbers, 967 for cases. They've had 10 deaths. Yeah, Sandy, I would probably postpone that trip in May. Florida's going to see that peak probably late April, May. So I would change that trip. Yvette is working from home in Miami. Yvette, comment down below and let us know what's going on in Miami. I know Miami, South Beach made a clamp down, which I appreciate. The mayor of Miami has coronavirus. So that might also be a factor in terms of them taking it a little bit more seriously. Illinois, we had folks from Illinois yesterday, 105 cases up in Illinois. Colorado has 160 cases. And, what we're seeing just globally in the US, we are seeing states like New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. they're closing and restricting businesses, essential only, anything that's non-essential. So essential: gas, groceries, pharmacies. So those are our frontliners, as well as our healthcare practitioners. Those are that's our army. And you guys are doing an awesome job. Take care of yourselves, keep breathing, protect yourself as much as you can with masks and eye gear. California issued city lockdowns yesterday. So city, and I think there's 5 or 6 counties, San Francisco area, they're in full lockdown to circumvent the growth that they've been seeing. Particularly New Rochelle is a case that now states and cities are going to be looking at minimizing just the rapid expansion and explosion of those cases. Ohio, this morning, there's a big dispute. We have voting going on, and you don't want people standing in voting lines, but we still have primaries and things happening here. So there's this lawsuit happening yesterday with Ohio, and a judge ruled that they could not shut down voting. But this morning, before I went live, I read that the health director ordered all the polls to be closed. So I'm not quite sure the logistics there, but people standing in line waiting to vote is not going to be the healthiest for them. I think there's a goal to try and go mail-in ballot. And if you are not yet voting, I don't know if the time's passed for you, but try to do your voting online, just circumventing the possibility that it's coming your way in terms of some lockdowns and shutdowns, so that you don't have to be forced to be out and about. Okay, so also we're seeing McDonald's is urging or considering closing their restaurants. I had mentioned that there are store closings, like Nordstrom's announced that they are going to be closing all their stores. The good news is most of us can go online and buy a lot of the products that we want from our online vendors. Speaking of online vendors, Amazon, as I mentioned yesterday, the lifespan of the virus on cardboard. I don't have any boxes nearby that I can hold up, but I've been ordering a lot online, and I also get lots of orders here. I'm now putting everything to the home base, but we've got a lot of orders coming in. Cardboard, the coronavirus will live on cardboard boxes or any type of mail for 24 hours. So that's the one thing you want to be cognizant of. We're just letting our packages sit outside for 24 hours, or like a few, I just grabbed my sanitary wipes, put my gloves on, and just transitioned the package into the garage. And I'm just going to leave it there. If we don't need to refrigerate it, they're just going and staying before I deal with them. So do know that one of the things that happened in Europe, there were 5 cases in the European Amazon warehouses where individuals had been tested with coronavirus. That does impact here. There's a possibility that might also happen here. So just be cognizant and clean your packages. We had a lot of questions about, can you sanitize your station. So I want to also share with you, where is it? Oh, here. So one of the things that I've been recommending, and Force of Nature is not out of stock, and this is really good. This is a particular product that offers EPA approved coronavirus fighting materials. Basically takes water and salt and and this plugs into an electrolyzer. The electrolyzer actually transforms the salt and makes it this chemical compound that is harmless to humans, but harmful to viruses. And that will kill the coronavirus. So I've been spraying, I have a glass bottle I use. I've been spraying that. I've been sanitizing. So that's really big to be aware of as I'm transitioning all of you to think about buying online, ordering, your materials, having them delivered. Instacart was one of the examples I used yesterday. One of the things that we're seeing internationally, like we're going to start to see manufacturing slow down and halt, like VW. And I have a friend who's one of their attorneys in that whole crazy VW lawsuit thing. She's like their proctor or whatever. So VW is suspending their production line. So this will have an impact for us. We'll see this probably in 8 or 9 months. Hong Kong is looking at almost a full quarantine of the island. The Swiss have said that they are approaching hospital collapse, which is kind of crazy. And then we also are going to see a supply chain crisis. And so I'm not trying to stress you out, you guys. I want to give you factual information. I want to equip you and empower you to make good, smart choices right now for your health and the health and happiness of your family. And we are in an unprecedented time. This is a very unique, very bizarre time frame where we've never had this happen to us. And so everything's upside down, but we have to start thinking about what is this going to look like? I think we had probably the best realistic communication last night from this task force federally about this is going to be months out. We're going to be seeing total changes to the way of life for in the long run, it's a short period of time, but for us right now, looking at it, it's going to seem like it's a lot. And so one of the things that I think we need to be cognizant of is as we see slowdown and we don't see necessarily a transition in manufacturing to helping support and equip ourselves with the materials to protect ourselves. Like that's what happened in the world wars. World War II, they went to manufacturing things for the war. We need to see the same happen here in the US and obviously across the globe. So one of the things that I want to encourage you to think about is the supply chain will be greatly impacted. Not necessarily right now. Like I know there was a mass exodus to the grocery stores. Well, those guys have supply chain logistics. It's this whole process of where they make sure they have inventory and they're stocking, and they've anticipated some of this. Some they haven't, because this has really grown faster than any of us would have ever expected. They are moving product in, and we will get that product. We will continue to get our groceries, but there will be a time frame where we won't have as great of an accessibility. So just be aware of that. That is not to be alarmist, but that's just the logistics of how this works. What hasn't been released, but we need to know, there is a mandate on truckers that they can only drive up to 11 hours at a time. That was lifted. I think they lifted it Friday evening or Friday afternoon. But that means that, our Amazon, our UPS, our US Postal Service, our, Whole Foods, our grocery suppliers, those trucks are now going to be on the road for over 11 hours. Those guys and ladies, they are also our front line. Like they are hauling goods to help us, to keep us stocked and to feed us. And speaking of feeding, it's not a bad idea to make donations to your local food banks, because with schools closing, there are millions of children who had healthy meals, or, as healthy as you can get in a school system, but they'd have reliable meals in their schools that aren't going to have access to that. And that is heartbreaking. There are going to be elderly and people that are going to be really rocked hard by this, that are not in a privileged state, as many of us are, that can afford to buy things. And the government has, we've seen here in the US, the House has passed the Corona relief bill. It's moved on to the Senate, so they expect some movement with that. Okay, so I just want to address some comments here, and then I'll dig into next up. We're going to talk about Ayurveda and homeopathy. So Honey Bunny, my son is a teacher with low immune system and asked to work at home. Thank God they agreed from UK. Yeah, so working from home, I know that there are some apps that are now allowing schools to use, like Zoom is allowing schools to interface with kids. Gabriel's doing a Google Hangout with his teacher twice. We have a teacher and we have a teaching assistant. So on Tuesdays and Thursdays, he'll see one of those ladies. So he at least has in-person contact, which is great. And we can do that. Good morning, Dale. Gilchrist. We've got, my husband and I are OTR truck drivers. Okay, LN Attack Training Systems LLC. So tell us, are you guys, how many hours are you putting in? And are you seeing that increase with a lot of your colleagues and friends on the road? Okay. Sorry, I'm drinking my keto coffee this morning. I definitely have some allergies this week. Okay, so we've got, what is the link for the spray bottle? Okay, the spray bottle, Darlene, is in the description box. It's called Force of Nature. And I'm going to write in a code I think it's sanitize. If you type in sanitize into your code, they're doing a 50% off the starter kit. So it gives you the electrolyzer, this bottle, and 4 or 5 of the little liquid solutions. The liquid solutions go in, you fill it up. It has like a fill line. It has a fill line, and then it does its little electrolyzing. Oh, there's a little beaker that it is on the new. They have 2 different versions. The newest one, it's a little beaker. You fill it up, and it electrolyzes and transforms the water into chemically sound, healthy for humans, and deadly for coronavirus. So, Instagram, if you want the link, DM me. You can use it actually on your skin. You know, when I'm cleaning, it gets on my hands, and it's not harmful. So you could very well. I don't think it's been tested though. I know for sure it hasn't been tested on human hands, but on dry, you know, the non-porous surfaces, it will kill coronavirus. Okay, so living our new normal, find a way to plant a garden, even if it's patio, balcony, plant a garden. That's a great idea. And you can buy seeds online. Hey, John, watching from Aurora, Colorado. Oh, I love Aurora. I love Boulder. Boulder's one of my favorite cities. From Boston, Anna, welcome. Crystal, children follow our lead. When parents are upset, children are upset. We're making this a fun adventure for kids instead of a time they look back on as a traumatic event in their lives. That's a really great idea. So Gabriel, St. Patty's Day, I kind of messed up. I meant to do this whole leprechaun thing, and then I just didn't get it done. But today we are going to make brownies, and yes, it's not going to be the most healthy, but I use coconut oil, and it's really fun. And so he's really looking forward to that. And I think that's a really good idea. We still have to keep them outside and active and encouraged. Living our new normal. Journal your experience with this, a real paper journal, because one day our grandkids will want to know what we went through. That's an excellent idea. I love these ideas. Okay. X Bluebells. I remember the 1978 shutdown of Boston due to snow emergency as one of the highlights of my life. Walking the snowy roads will stay in my mind forever. And that's nature. You know, if we can get into nature, that's so fantastic. Nature is very healing, lots of good oxygen. It gets our mind off of things. We plan, it's kind of yucky out, but when it gets nicer, we have a local park that we're going to take the dogs and walk around in. So that's really big. EK, what are your thoughts on nebulizing colloidal silver? I love that as a good natural way of fortifying your immune system, fortifying your cells. I don't think it's a bad idea. Darren Joe, Bob Johnson sends his regards. Okay. I don't know who that is, but I think you are a spammer, so we're going to get rid of you. Darren, I'm not going to tolerate spammers here. Okay. All right, let's dig into Ayurveda. So are you guys familiar with Ayurveda? Ayurveda is based out of India. We actually have Shruti Rajendran on our Instagram. So Ayurvedic medicine utilizes herbals and botanicals, and a lot of the botanicals are indigenous to India, but we now see this expanding out. And one of the amazing things with herbal therapies is a lot of countries have different names for a lot of the similar type of plants. So I want to dig into some Ayurvedic herbal or botanicals that are they will equip you in a multitude of ways. They will help regulate, boost, bolster, fortify, enhance your immune system, because we want our immune system to be very healthy. We want it to be responsive, and we want it to be active, engaged in the event of coming in contact or coming down with the coronavirus. So first up, this is a no-brainer here, ginger. Ginger is an Ayurvedic herb. Ginger is a root, and it is used in terms of in Ayurveda and even Chinese medicine. It's a warming, has warming properties. What that means is it warms the body up. It gives us a warmer constitution. Warmth in the event of immunity is an enhancing of immune system. It'll also warm up and help us fight infection. Ginger is also antibacterial. When we consume it, it's great for the digestive system. So we see that and used in, eating raw sushi, but we see it a lot in Ayurvedic cooking. Neem, I've got a link for Instagram down below. Neem, you can get neem oil We have a lot of the options right now. Currently, they are available in full script. Where do you see that? My lights are a little bright. So the neem is an oil. You can use this topically. You can take this orally. It is, it's kind of intense. Oh, hi, Magnolia Floral Studio. We have a new member. Oh, live chat's on too, by the way, you guys. Let me shake this up. Neem oil is very, very, very beneficial. I did, Bob. I banned Darren. Okay, so this is an herbal tincture, and you can put it in a drink or whatnot. But neem, it's considered a miracle herb. And as a miracle herb, it's very beneficial at enhancing our body's ability to fight infection, so bacteria, viruses, and fungus. So we can use this in a multitude of ways. It is very beneficial for digestion, just like ginger. We had a question from Robin. So neem, N-E-E-M. And the description box below also has the details in the link. I know for sure FullScript has them online. Hi, Whitney. Happy St. Patty's Day. So one of the things that neem can be beneficial for is in the event that you do have any type of contact with everyday individuals. So this is, again, a really good option for our frontliners, our teachers that are still teaching, our professionals in the grocery store, they're stocking shelves, folks are delivering. I really love that as an option. Turmeric is another one. Turmeric is fantastic for enhancing the immune response. It also has antioxidants and anti-inflammatories. It has curcumin in it. And curcumin is a very wonderful, beneficial property in turmeric that has an enhancement of your lymphatics. It's wonderful for that. So for instance, Magnolia Floral Studio, if one family member is still working outside of the home, what steps would you take to minimize exposure risk for the rest of the family? For sure, I have a video coming out later today about the car. So the car, first thing, is a safe haven for that individual. We had some discussion yesterday about, having stations in the home, maybe the garage, where, they just do a change of clothing. So, get the clothing off because the virus could be on there, and even quick, sanitizing of the hands and any of the areas that they might have in contact for with others, so that they minimize that transition. So there's, people are doing changing stations in the trunk of their car. They're doing changing stations in the garage and limiting that exposure. Because again, if you're changing station in the garage and you quickly get the clothing in and wash your clothing in hot water, the virus will die. You take a shower. So I would encourage all of those individuals, frontliners, change their clothing in a safe space and, outside of the home, in the garage or in the car, where, in back car, whatever. You'll figure out your process, but do that. Don't bring that in, shoes included. So it'd be, very much two kind of lives. You'd have your work life, outside life, and then you have your home life. And you'd want to have the kind of seal, if you will, and have them immediately take showers, go and rinse in hot water, hair, all the areas that have, touched individuals or have had exposure. Also removing the clothing. Tulsi. I want to talk to you guys about Tulsi. Tulsi, I love. And Contessa, I would ask your pharmacist. I don't know what medications you're on. So Tulsi. Tulsi is, we call it holy basil. Tulsi is available in tea form. You can take in capsule form. YouTube, there's a link in the description box below. One of the things that I really love about Tulsi, they actually call her the queen of herbs. And Tulsi has an amazing antiviral, antibacterial capacity. I don't have on hand right here an example of Tulsi. Actually, hold on, I do. This, my Stress Adapt tea. This is what I was drinking yesterday. Tulsi is great for reducing the stress response of the body. And it also is antiviral, antibacterial. So you're going to have a power punch that's going to help reduce the stress and equip your body with some of the power it needs to address any type of cold or flu or coronavirus. And I've been hearing a lot, I've gotten lots of emails, lots of DMs, lots of messages that folks are still dealing with cold and flu season. And so that's the other thing. It's, you might also think you might have coronavirus. You might just be dealing with the flu, but regardless, this can equip you with some resources. The other thing that's helpful, and I've got, let's see, 2, 4, 6, I have 7 herbs, 7 Ayurvedics that I'm going over. So number 5 is ashwagandha. You guys hear me talk a lot about that. The caveat with ashwagandha is you don't want to be taking this if you have any thyroid imbalances, particularly Hashimoto's and even some of the sluggish thyroid, but it will modulate the stress response, which has a direct impact on your immune system. So balancing your stress response will help your immune system be optimized and at least not decreased. We do see depression of the immune system when we're under stress. This is a stressful time. And so we have to be able to balance our stress. I don't have ashwagandha to show you. I've just been, trying to be as responsive as I can, but I don't have that or licorice. Licorice is next. Licorice you're actually going to find in a lot of blends. And I know a lot of you have been shopping in my Full Script store. That's our online store. And we're still full operation, still getting tons of items in every day. There are a lot of stress-related blends that will have licorice in it. So you might find you've got Tulsi, ashwagandha, licorice, you've got bees and some of the other good balancers. But what we see is licorice increases interferon levels. Interferon is a deep, deep immune response, and it can help the body decrease the, oh, here comes UPS. We're going to have dogs barking here in a minute. So increase of interferon helps lower some of the pathogens that you might experience in your everyday life. And then my last one, and I love this particularly for facial products because it has an omega-7 aspect to it. But amla is wonderful for enhancing the digestive process and the detox process. That's so great for balancing your body. And, we want to make sure healthy immune system, healthy gut, healthy digestive process. So for all of you tuning in, I just went over the 7 Ayurvedic botanicals that are good for boosting, modulating, regulating, and enhancing your immune system. I'm going to go over next homeopathics. If you didn't catch some of these, you can just kind of tap, like Instagram, I think you can tap and go back. It will be live on my stories for 24 hours. Then also on YouTube, you can catch it when all this gets downloaded. So homeopathy. Let's talk about homeopathics. One of the things that I am recommending for a lot of folks is to start to equip your homes, take an assessment of what you have, but start to equip your homes with the items that you might need in the event that you have symptoms. If you do come down with coronavirus, if you're one of the cases. And what does that mean and why am I saying this? So one of the things that we don't have a vaccine for this. We don't have any clinical data on any of the current medications on the market that could lower the extent of the symptoms, that it could lower the autoimmunity and the autoimmune response that then turns this into a septic state for a lot of autoimmune cases. We're seeing the highest kind of folks that are hit with this are folks with diabetes and heart-related conditions and restricted lung capacity. So homeopathics can be very good in addressing the impact of a virus on the body, as well as in minimize. And there's so much to homeopathy. Homeopathy can address symptoms and it can address the root cause. So it does a lot of different things. And homeopathics naturally will enhance our body's response. So it's all about triggering the body to recognize pathogen, virus, bacteria, or turn around symptoms that we're dealing with or lower. So for me, I look at homeopathy as more symptom management, except for one category. And I think I've got this over here. So first, let me dig into some of the symptoms that we're going to address. And this is stuff that we want to be aware of. The common symptoms we're going to be experiencing with coronavirus, fever. So 101 is that kind of fever point where like, okay, this is a possibility. You might have throat congestion, sore throat, sneezing, and coughing. And there's going to be some degree of respiratory distress or congestion. So, you know, what I like to recommend is, let me see if I've got it. I've got my little war chest, if you will, over here. I have, I don't know if I've got it over here. Well, let me tell, so instead of me digging and wasting your time, there's some homeopathics that I really, really love. There's let's see, it's called oscillocinum, I think is how you say it, but it's the cold and flu pack that like CVS, Walgreens, Target, we sell it also in our online store. That is wonderful. And right now, friends, I'm just talking this video. I've seen questions about other topics. We're only talking about coronavirus on this new show. So I'm really equipping the world with resources. So any other questions we can address on other content. There are a few other homeopathics that are really beneficial. So there's something called Alum Cepa, CEPA. There's something called influenizum. We have belladonna that will address the fever, Rux Tux, and then arsenicum album. Arsenicum album is my favorite go-to for any type of cold and flu. So those, homeopathy is something to consider. And there's an assortment of homeopathics. Like you guys, I know if you're a regular viewer of mine, I'm always recommending like the cold calm, sinus calm. This is a perfect example. This actually has belladonna in it, and that'll relieve sinus pain. Belladonna is good for pain. It's also good for fever. And then it has some other homeopathics in here that will deal with the sinus congestion. And there's an assortment, like even the kids version. So I had shown you guys this. I grabbed this at CVS. These homeopathics are also good. We have to think about our kids. Just because the data and stats are low on children doesn't mean that your kids are not going to come in contact with and possibly have the coronavirus. We don't know right now. We're not given the breakdown of ages. So we don't have the epidemiology here in the US stats to say, okay, out of the 967 cases in New York, how many of those are kids? And we have to start to think about our children might have symptoms. We might have symptoms. That's why I do recommend that you start to think about equipping your lives, equipping your families, your households with those go-to products. And Sophie's baby 6, belladonna makes my blood pressure high. Yes, and it can have that impact for some people. And this is something where it's helpful if you read, you consult with your pharmacist. The pharmacists are aware of homeopathics, and it can be very, very helpful at limiting a lot of the symptoms. Okay, so the Surya M, how can I sleep better? Worried about this and getting up at night. Yes, actually, I was going to address this in tomorrow's video, and I'm glad you brought that up. I'm trying to see if I've got something here. I've kind of changed my desk around a little bit for this whole live production. I've got cameras. Let me see if I've got my go-to stuff. Where is it? I have something here in my office. I'm looking around to see where is it. Okay, well, so here's what I'm going to promise. Tomorrow we're going to talk about sleep. We're going to talk about stress, because this is all about stress management, making sure we're sleeping, eating well. That's huge. Hi, long-legged Lithuanian. Hello from Texas, and happy St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patty's Day. So what I recommend, so tomorrow we're going to talk about sleep, but there's a product, and I'll post it in the link down below this description box. There's a product that addresses all the degrees of sleep. It's a gel pack. I actually posted a video about it maybe 4 weeks ago. And I love it. I'm actually going to start to use it because last night I did have some difficulty sleeping, partly because I was doing all this research for today and just looking at the world stats, what's going on. So we'll talk about that. But sleep, there are some really good ways to enhance your sleep. Tulsi is excellent for that, managing your stress. Let's see. So the real Charlie Orange. Anyone catch the one for fever? Sometimes belladonna. Feverfew is another one, but feverfew is not homeopathic. Feverfew is an herbal. I like to use that one too. Okay, so I'm seeing lots of messages about access. Can't get most of this in local store, have to order online. Yes, so chaos gone away. You are definitely going to find your best bets now are to go online. And local stores are going to be getting more stock. Just because you saw reports of your Publix or your Kroger or the different grocery stores, they are getting more stuff. So that is not a permanent state. And I know that this situation is triggering our fight or flight response. Like, we are starting to have the freak out. And I know a lot of us are dealing with that. That's where sometimes the inability to sleep, or you just start to feel like increase in the kind of anxiety. And so just know right now there's still production coming your way. So we're definitely seeing people, stores are going to be restocked. Our local Aldi, they get their shipments in. They're getting it in sometime today. I wouldn't doubt that they've got it in now, just be knowing that the truckers are traveling longer hours. And so I actually have an Instacart plan for today at Aldi, kind of anticipating that. So what I'm going to encourage all of you to do is just to kind of think about what this is how I'm approaching this. I'm just thinking, okay, where are we going and what's happening? And to stay ahead of the curve, I feel like I want to stay ahead of the curve. I want to stay ahead of having access to what I need or what I think I need, anticipating. So it's just being really strategic. Sometimes we have to put that little strategy hat on and start to think, okay, these are the items that I'm going to need, everyday use items. And so I'm thinking about doing a video on that. I will say working from home with everybody here is proving to be a little difficult in trying to get everything done and still keep life regular for Gabriel. So, I definitely want to encourage I want to encourage you guys to be flexible with me, because I have more ideas and more content goals than I have the capacity to produce these. So, and Bluebells, yeah, I had the freak out response. I desperately had products going out online. I ended up with 12 bottles of ketchup. I'm so ashamed. It's okay. Don't worry. You know what? We have to give ourselves grace. This is something that we have not ever gone through. So don't beat yourselves up. I mean, the last people who need to be, this just makes me really sad. The last people who need to be hard on ourselves are ourselves. We're our champion. You're doing the best you can. And that's what I want each of you to know. We are doing the best that you can in the current moment. And don't look back. Don't beat yourself up. You know what? You might very well be able to find out if some neighbors need ketchup, and we might be starting to see communal effort. We might see the community come together. Like today is St. Patrick's Day. One of the moms in our neighborhood said, hey, what if we did a find the shamrock kind of thing, where you make a shamrock, put it in your window, and families just walk around the neighborhood separate and they look for the decorated shamrock. The same might happen if, let's say, a neighbor doesn't have ketchup. You are a great resource for that. And it's okay. And we might start to see, if this really progresses, we might start to see bartering, that these commodities might become bartering aspects. And, all of us have family members, grew up hearing some family member talk about how, they lived through the Great Depression. I'm not saying that that's what we're dealing with, but you think about the stories of how, my grandmother was a farmer and they had milk and they had the items that were on the farm, but they didn't have the other items. They didn't have the materials for dresses. So they would trade, their commodity was the dairy. They would trade the dairy to the guy who had the bolts of material. And, my great aunt would make the family dresses. That might be our situation. And it might very well be happening in other parts of the world. And so just really, really don't be hard on yourselves. Okay. It's okay. You're doing the best that you can. We're doing all the best that we can. Baseball fan. I have one. I'm so stressed. I was awake all night. I know. So tomorrow I promise you, we're going to deal with stress. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about stress. We're going to talk about how to manage this, things to do at home. Let me just write that down and shoot me your questions right now, specifically about stress and sleep. That way I can be even more targeted and tailored to our talk. So I'm just going to write some of these down. Stress and sleep. Laura. All right. Laura's saying 93 deaths from corona. It's called coronavirus in USA. Almost every single one of them were elderly. That we don't know. So that is unsubstantiated data. So Laura and anybody, I'm going to really start to call out misinformation and lack of clinical researched data. That we don't know. I had already mentioned we don't have the true epidemiology of the cases in terms of the numbers right now. So you saying that it's absolutely nothing at all to worry about is bogus. I'm sorry, that is false information. You are spewing misinformation and you are making things worse. So please stop spewing this just absolutely asinine, non-factually oriented data. It's time to wake up, okay? Folks like Laura in our lives, we need to speak truth to ignorance, and it's time to wake up. There are cars, see the arguments that there are more deaths by car. I mean, that's just so insane. It's just absolutely insane. This is not even, it's apples to oranges. This is a pandemic. I'm going to hide you. Sorry. You have no leverage here on my channel. Okay. So Dale, I used to watch my grandmother line the old steel garbage cans with an old newspaper, old Depression era trick. She was amazing. Yeah. So, that is definitely something that we're going to see more of. Al Wood Jen, thoughts on holy basil for sleep. Yes, it's very good for sleep. I love kava. Kava is one of the things that I've been drinking more at night. Holy basil is good for the stress. So stress, when we lower stress, we naturally get better sleep. So stress, and it's a whole cortisol impact. When cortisol is high, particularly at night, because that's the one thing. If you can limit your news exposure at night, put on fun stuff and comedic shows, I think are most impactful. So one of the things that I want you to be aware of is just also your limit and restrict the stressful items in your life, and put the consciousness and the educational aspects in areas in your life that then you can manage the stress and it doesn't have such a big impact. And diesel, yes, passion flower is good too. And that tomorrow we're going to talk about stress and sleep. We're going to dig way into that, and then I will get you lots and lots of specific links and things like that in the description. Chaos Gone Away. News posted yesterday, numbers of infected and age, gender by state and Midwest. Okay. I've got to dig into that because I haven't seen anything globally for the US. But I know that there's a lot of different sources. Okay. So baseball fan, I really love plain chamomile tea. I put 2 tea bags in 1 mug, brew for 10 minutes. Yeah. Chamomile is fantastic. Okay. Stress related question. I'm a mom of 2 toddlers. What is a good organic tea that's safe to take while breastfeeding? That's a good question. Breastfeeding and tea for stress. Okay. I will definitely address that tomorrow. I actually have some that I took when I was breastfeeding as well. I know you're limited in the breastfeeding just because we don't always have the clinical research, and they always kind of say, be cautious just because we don't know. So that's one thing to be aware of. Okay, Shauna Riley. I started to not feel well and have several supplements. How do you know which ones to start with and not to be taking up to 6 or more supplements a day? Or is it okay to take 6 or more? Kind of depends. That's a good question. Kind of depends on what supplements you have, what their function and what their focus is. And then also it depends on what you're trying to target. And then the other thing on top of that, it depends on the body's receptor. So a lot of times we're seeing synchronicity in our supplementation where like you wouldn't want to take a vitamin D with a fish oil because those 2 components, when they're digested, there's one receptor that would absorb it. So you'd have two things fighting for one receptor. So that's a really broad question and a really broad answer. So I'm sorry I can't get really specific on that. Anna Brown, could be possible to put all this information on a PDF file? So many things you are suggesting would be great to have a guide. What we're actually working on behind the scenes, and that's excellent. I do have a lot of powerful info. We're going to be putting on our blog. So our website will be the clearinghouse. On that, the PDF production takes a lot longer, unfortunately, and I have a team that can help me with the website faster. So that's what we're kind of looking at right now, but I don't know when that would be live, maybe early as next week. Charlotte Miles, Dr. M, I know you probably answered this question already, but what are you drinking this morning? Oh yeah, so today I'm drinking coffee. So that's what I'm drinking. Just made it to work and I'm late to your update. Thank you. All right, Charlotte, thanks for joining. Charlotte, you actually, when this gets all wrapped up, you can watch it again. We've also had some discussions about possibly trying to take this audio into a podcast version, but it's just all about kind of managing capacity. I'm down in terms of the staff that's helping me, as are a lot of businesses. So it's a little bit grassrootsy, but we'll get there. We're getting through it. I do have some technology I want to try to implement, at least here on YouTube, where I want to give you, like, I can toggle between like a website and pull up a study and show you like a little presentation kind of method. That is very advanced. And so I've got to kind of learn and educate myself. So I promise these are going to get better and better. I'm hoping that they won't be as long as the normal ones have been, running at 2 hours and 20 minutes, because we all have a lot of time to spend elsewhere and focus on things. So, all right, I lost my doc, Anita. Thanks, as I'm in severe pain. Baseball fan, I would say consider checking out CBD. Sammy's World, hi, love your channel. Yes to coffee, yay! I put in my my creamer, my keto creamer in here. So I was on this kind of specialized program that I've kind of made up for myself pre-wedding. So it's all about getting ready for the wedding that was supposed to take place Friday, and Tuesday today we're supposed to leave. So, I'm basically, my stress response is to dive into work and to see all of you. And, we just have to find ways to, in a healthy way, deal with stress. And so me doing this makes me feel better because I can help a lot of you, and it then takes my mind off of all these deliveries and presents we're getting with the wrong date now. And so it's just been kind of crazy. Okay, so yeah, Diesel Max, I wish we had more data on CBD for humans and pets. The most data is coming right out of Europe. The US is going to lag behind on that because of the FDA, CDC war on CBD. How we troubleshoot about how to handle the virus in our clothes. Okay, so virus on the clothes, wash your clothes, hot water. That's really key. Not Sharmila. I've noticed suddenly everyone jumped to Dettol items. I don't know what that means. And wanted to know natural disinfectants that we can use along with hand washing protocols. Yeah, so I actually plan on showcasing a way to use bleach, hydrogen peroxide, and alcohol to minimize the virus. The key with the virus is that we have to kill the shell of it. So the breakdown of the shell, that's what kills the virus. So heat, 137 degrees Fahrenheit and above, kills the virus. And then we know, ethanol, alcohol, and as I mentioned yesterday, if you guys want to watch that, you can catch that on the replay, but I detailed the specifics. And so one of the things that I really like is that we can utilize some of the more natural substances. This force of nature is my go-to, okay? All right, so friends, we are at an hour, and I'm going to keep this at an hour today. Send me your questions down below. Instagram is going to be heading off. Tomorrow we're going live again at 9 a.m. We're going to talk about stress and sleep, how to deal with the stress of all of this, how to sleep better so that we keep you optimized. We encourage your sleep. We encourage that rejuvenative process, and we support your adrenals, because this is a long haul. This is a long game, friends. This is just the beginning of this new change, this new dynamic, and the stress of not knowing for how long is causing more stress. So let's take it one day at a time. We're in it together. Friends on Facebook or friends on YouTube, please give me a thumbs up and share this. I appreciate it. When this gets wrapped up, if you guys would come back and comment on the video that apparently is helping some of the outreach. I usually get about 4 or 5 hours before YouTube hits it with demonetization and then stunts its outreach. So I'm going to try and circumvent that with your help. And definitely at 9 a.m., tune in tomorrow. Any questions that you guys have, feel free to comment on the YouTube video. For all of you on Instagram, run over to YouTube and you can catch this video over there. This live will just be up for an hour or for a day. I'm trying to do stuff with Instagram TV. That's going to take a little bit of editing time. And check out yesterday, I posted an Aldi haul, a stock up haul. So that was very helpful, I think, for a lot of you. Let me just save this Instagram just went away. So my Aldi haul video, I had actually done the haul Thursday of last week, anticipating that maybe this week would be a little chaotic. For sure, we were leaving town. I just want to make sure we had some stuff to come back to. And that proved to be a very beneficial time, good timing in terms of being ahead of the curve. And I show video. I'm in the store. You can see like there were these guys. That was funny. There were these guys you can see in one of the clips. They were loading up, cases. I think they took all the water. And I've got my little video camera on my phone, and the guy's like, "We're not hoarding this. We actually need this. We're not stockpiling. We really need this for work." And there was one other mom in the store that she was buying full cases of fruit and vegetables. I mean, that's all she bought. She had 2 carts. And then I had one other woman who actually was wearing a mask, and she said, "I have an infant at home and I don't want to take any chances." And that was Thursday. Fast forward, Saturday and Sunday were totally different days here locally. So go outside. I love baseball fan, walking in air outside and listening to birds this morning. I love it. So let's encourage each other. That's the whole point and purpose of us coming together live, is this community that we're building. Happy St. Patty's Day to everybody. I was going to end with an Irish blessing and I forgot to get it out, but I will send you my Irish blessings from afar, that you find peace and joy in your life today. We're going to take this one step at a time, one day at a time. And I appreciate all of you for tuning in, because this is such a great format for us to get educated and get communally together as we combat this pandemic crisis. So stay tuned for tomorrow's video or tomorrow's live show, and possibly there will be a video that comes out today. So thanks everybody. For all of you interested in any of the details, any of the products I mentioned, like the neem and the tulsi and the force of nature, you can grab those links to buy those all down in the description box below. So everybody, lots of love, be safe, be well, and stay 6 feet away from everybody. All right, I'll see you guys soon. Have a good St. Patrick's Day. Lots of love to you all. Bye.